In a country where integrity in public office is often preached but rarely enforced, the case of Anne Sansa Daly has exposed just how vulnerable the systems of governance in Ghana are to manipulation, deception, and political favoritism. Her rise to prominence as a so-called medical doctor and her subsequent appointment to the board of the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, was not the result of merit, qualification, or medical experience, but a well-orchestrated fraud enabled by a government too trusting, a system too compromised, and a people too betrayed. On January 31st, 2024, the public was introduced to Anne Sansa Daly through a social media post celebrating her humble beginnings and impressive rise as a medical practitioner. She claimed to have worked her way up from modest roots to become the proud founder of her own health facility, which she named Virgin Trust Medical Services. The narrative was inspiring. She posed as a medical professional, complete with white coats, medical terminology, health talks, and a glowing digital brand. But it was all an elaborate projection. There was no medical degree, no certification, no legitimate schooling, nothing but lies dressed in ambition. By May 2025, the situation had taken a dangerous turn. Anne Sansa Daly's fraudulent image had reached the highest levels of Ghanaian governance. Her name appeared on the official appointment sheet of the National Health Insurance Authority Board. On May 19, 2025, she was listed as a board appointee at number 12.1, identified falsely as a health professional. This list was received by the appropriate authorities on May 22nd and shockingly published without further scrutiny. Just 5 days later, on May 27, 2025, Anne Daly was sworn in as an official NHIA board member, despite never having attended any certified medical school, and with no qualification whatsoever to serve in such a capacity. Her inclusion among experts in the health sector was not only inappropriate, it was dangerous. How could someone with no training in healthcare be entrusted to make decisions that affect the health of millions of Ghanaians? When questions began to arise among members of the public, Anne Daly tried to defend herself by claiming that she had studied at the prestigious Johns Hopkins University in Maryland, USA. According to her narrative, she first obtained a diploma and later completed her master's in medicine from the same institution. She even presented certificates and photographs to prove her story. But when examined, every single document she submitted was revealed to be fake. The certificates were doctored using photo editing software, possibly purchased from fraudulent websites. The images she shared, where she appeared to be surrounded by fellow doctors, were manipulated versions of legitimate photographs sourced from the real Johns Hopkins University website. Images into which she had simply photoshopped her own face. She had taken a well-known photo of a graduating class and digitally inserted herself, standing tall in a white coat, pretending to be a licensed physician. This fake image was then framed and displayed proudly in her home and circulated across social media to deepen the illusion. How such a scandalous deception could make it through the layers of vetting, verification, and appointment to a national board is a damning indictment of the systems currently in place. The answer, sadly, lies in Ghana's broken political culture, where personal relationships and loyalty to political actors often matter more than competence or truth. According to sources, Anne Sansa Daly was not alone in her rise. She had powerful political backing. Reports revealed that she was romantically involved with Kevin Taylor, a political commentator known for his loud and often controversial media presence. Kevin Taylor, who resides outside Ghana, is wanted by authorities for various legal and political reasons. Nevertheless, his influence within certain NDC circles remains potent. It is alleged that Kevin Taylor used his connections in the current ruling NDC government to recommend Anne Daly for the appointment, without any proper checks, vetting, or verification of her credentials. This is where the real tragedy unfolds. A whole government in this modern era, in this era of digital fact-checking and credential verification, allowed itself to be manipulated, based purely on the voice and influence of a man living abroad. Kevin Taylor is not a health expert. He is not a member of the Ghana Medical Association. He is not even present in the country. And yet, his word was enough to insert a fraudulent individual into the very heart of Ghana's public health governance. How cheap has our politics become? The consequences of this extend far beyond a personal scandal. It speaks to a systemic rot in our institutions. That someone could fabricate an entire professional identity and be rewarded with a board position meant to safeguard public health is a grave threat to national safety. Lives are at risk when governance is treated as a playground for unverified appointees, political loyalists, and celebrity cronies. When fake people gain access to the health sector, they do not only compromise policies, they compromise lives. Ben Dotsie Mailer, former deputy editor at the BBC and respected media voice, did not remain silent. He immediately called for an investigation into Anne Sansa Daly's fraudulent credentials following the revocation of her appointment. While he applauded President Mahama's decision to remove Daly, he insisted that the matter should not end there. A probe must be launched to trace every lie, every document, every person who enabled this fraud to penetrate the highest offices of health governance. He pointed out that if Anne Daly truly graduated from Johns Hopkins University Medical School with a GPA of 4.0, as she falsely claimed, there would be international records to support it, but none exist. Instead, her story is one of deliberate deception, polished branding, and high-level political protection. To falsely claim the title of doctor is not just misleading, it is a serious crime. President Mahama acted swiftly, and on May 28, 2025, Daly's appointment was officially revoked. In her place, a credible nominee was appointed, Professor Dr. Med Ernest York, a former Greater Accra Regional Chair of the Ghana Medical Association, and a well-respected professional with decades of service in real medicine. The office of the President, in a formal statement dated May 23rd and signed by Dr. Callistus Mahama, instructed the swearing-in of Professor York and expressed the President's appreciation for public concern. But the revocation alone is not enough. That Anne Daly got this far into the system raises deeper questions. Who else is on that board? Who else has entered Ghana's governance structures under false pretenses? How often does political favoritism override verification and competency? How many fake certificates are hiding in plain sight among those wielding power over Ghana's future? Media personality and social activist Okatachi Afrifa-mensah demanded immediate legal action. In a fiery appearance on Metro TV on May 29th, he called for Daly's arrest, not just dismissal. His argument was rooted in law, morality, and precedent. Whether or not she was administering drugs to patients, he said, her misrepresentation alone constituted a serious crime. She appeared on television. She gave health advice. She attended public health programs and posed as an expert. That deception, in itself, endangers the public. Afrifa-mensah warned that if the Medical and Dental Council fails to take swift action, it will erode its moral credibility. The next time a fake doctor is arrested, the system will have no moral ground to prosecute. The rules must apply equally, regardless of who the fraudster knows in government or what political party backs them. He doubted, however, that the government would act decisively. He suggested that Daly would likely be protected by her political allies, shielded from accountability by those who benefit from her silence or her services. The response from the Ministry of Health tried to minimize the damage. In a press release issued by spokesperson Tony Goodman, the ministry clarified that Daly had not been officially sworn in. According to them, she was present during the May 27th event, but never officially took the oath. This statement came too late. By then, the public had already seen her name on the appointment sheet. The damage was done. Even if she had not been sworn in, she had been chosen. She had been recommended. She had been vetted, if we can call it that, and she had made it through the doors of national decision-making based on pure fiction. This scandal cuts deep into the heart of a nation struggling with healthcare challenges, where clinics are understaffed, where rural hospitals lack doctors, where women die in childbirth due to negligence, and where children are misdiagnosed because of insufficient training. Into that space, we allowed a fake doctor to enter, not because of her merit, but because of political influence. What would have happened if she had been allowed to stay on the board? What policies would she have helped shape? What funding might she have influenced? What dangerous health decisions could she have contributed to? This is more than a personal story. This is about national safety. This is about the future of Ghana's children and the moral crisis that afflicts our leadership. We cannot claim to be developing if we cannot even confirm who is qualified to speak for our health. We cannot say we are progressing if lies are rewarded and fraud is celebrated. It is time for serious reforms in how public appointments are made. Vetting should not be an optional ritual. Every certificate must be verified. Every nominee must be cross-checked, regardless of who recommended them. No political ally, no media influencer, no romantic connection should ever again be enough to grant access to Ghana's national health boards. The presidency acted, but it acted only after the media and public raised alarms. Let this be a wake-up call, not just for the current government, but for every administration to come. The health of the people is not a game. It is not a political currency. It is a sacred trust. The people of Ghana deserve better. And to our viewers and readers at Ghana AI News, we ask you to stay vigilant. We are committed to exposing the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. If you believe in unfiltered reporting, in bold journalism that challenges the status quo, then subscribe, share, and support this platform. Because in times like these, truth is not just powerful, it is necessary. Let this be a lesson to the nation. Let this be a beginning, not an end. And may Ghana never again be so naive. To our Ghana AI News family, stay alert, stay informed, and remember, power is safest in the hands of a well-informed people. Please subscribe to Ghana AI News for more unfiltered truth and fearless exposés.